All right, welcome. It is, where's my calendar?
Sunday.
I updated my computer, my calendar's not showing up. Okay, it's Sunday, the 26th, right? Yeah, the 26th. And welcome to the Team Victory All-Star Call. This is a big call because it is the end of the month. And usually the end of the month means a big surge. It means people are really trying hard to get in their last successful points. And what I found as far as income goes for you guys, it took me 5 years to figure this out because I don't know why. I'm not a numbers person, even though, anyways. Even though I can count cycles, I'm not a numbers person. So at the end of the month, typically your paycheck is the highest because people are really pushing to get their successful points at the end of the month. So typically the first week of the month, it's your lowest check. The last week of the month is typically your highest check. That's not for everybody. I'm sorry, guys. I want to mute. I'm going to mute this, everybody. There we go, manage. There we go. Sorry. Okay. And then what does seem to be the case this month is that successful points are, I don't know if they're harder to get, but I know me personally, they've been harder to get. Probably because I'm not flat out. I haven't been consistent with my Power of 3. I've really tried. This is where managing when you when you get a large team and you have to prioritize things. 90% of your activity should be in phase 1. Phase 1 is recruiting customers, coaches, actively acting as a coach, looking for challengers, who needs my help, and not managing. And it's really hard to balance when you have 750 people now on the team. But I know for a fact that being in phase 1 is most important. Right now, my focus in phase 1 is not necessarily private messages. That has been my bread and butter for 5 years. So I'm saying that to you because it's taken me 5 years to kind of pull out of that right now because I have to focus on expanding that. So that being said, I want you guys to continue doing what you're doing because there are so many people that are untapped that you can connect with that are friends of friends, and those private messages are really where you should be spending your time. As you get bigger, as your team gets bigger, you do end up starting to talk to the same people, even though you're constantly adding new people. So I will say that for me, the Power of 3 is continuing in the fact that I'm continuing to add new people to my network. But I have found myself repeating myself, following up with the same people. Okay, so I need to kind of step out of that, think outside the box. So that's what this month has really been for me. So all year I've hit 10, Success Club 10, which is the first time I've been consistent in that every single month of the year. Well, I'm at 7 right now. So you don't think I'm panicking? I don't want to lose this, right? I mean, obviously I've hit Success Club and that's non-negotiable, but we're in October and I'm at 7. So the focus of this call is really, how am I going to hit 10, right? Which means, how are you going to hit 5 if you're short? And what I was going to do is I was going to actually pull up the report and see who was where. But since my computer flipped out, it's going to take me too long to do that. But same thing applies. So what am I going to do to ensure that I hit 10? This is where thinking outside the box is, right? So you guys have all been doing the Power of 3. I know that because you guys have all said it. And I know that everybody that's either hit Success Club before or is really trying hard to hit Success Club now is doing the Power of Three, because I'm watching it. So you're doing the Power of Three and you're still not there. So what are some of the things that you can do, which is some of the things that I'm doing. And I'm going to go through those. So, but bear with me. I like to just come up with things, so I might go off into a tangent, but I don't have them written down, because that's just how I roll. Okay, one of the things I want to talk about in thinking outside the box and thinking of, okay, where else can I find these points? And this is actually not necessarily something that I'm doing right now, but something that sparked, I saw this in the team page and I thought, that is exactly what people need to be doing. So I'm going to give Leanne Suttles a shout out, even though I know she's not on this call, but she's on the recording, because she had commented on something in the last 2 days that said, in fact, I think Carrie actually commented for the link, that she was looking at or listening to a team call that had to do with Shakeology and closing the sale. So the focus is, okay, I'm at 2 points, I'm at 3 points, I'm at 4 points. How am I going to finish this? How am I going to finish strong? Okay, I'm doing the Power of Three, but that doesn't seem to be doing it. What else can I do? So what Leanne did was she went to the National Wake Up Call archive and look. So this is my point. Go to the National Wake Up Call archive. It's there for you. It's like, give it. Hello, here you go. Scroll through the titles. If there's something that you keep running into, then click on that title and listen to that, because you know that all of the calls in the last couple of years have all given tangible takeaways. And you probably have already listened to it. I know I have. But when your mind is in a different mindset, you're going to hear things differently. So you're really grasping for those last few points, and something is just not clicking with all of those people that you're connecting with. Go to the archive, find a team call. It's 30 minutes of your time. Skip over, even if you're like on your iPhone, or if you don't have an iPhone, sorry, in your podcast, you can skip through the first 15 minutes. So it's really just like 15 minutes of content. What do I need to fill my head so that I can go back to these conversations or follow up with some people or connect to new people and have a different conversation, because what I just learned on that wake-up call that I was going through. So what Leanne did was, she was having a hard time closing with Shakeology and the benefit of that. And so she went to the National Wake Up Call and she went through that. And now, changing your conversation or tweaking your conversation. I mean, that's how you grow as a coach and how, as a leader, is that each day you seek out that information and you apply it. So repeating calls is always recommended. I love to go back to calls because, again, you hear things differently. So that's one thing. If you're not at 5, you're not at 10, actually, if you're not at 6, you're not at 11 or 12, because I always like to say, don't stop at 5, because, and I know Beachbody tries not to put returns on that Wednesday before the end of the month, but you know what? They can't guarantee it. So guess what? A return may show up on that Wednesday in that month, and you could be dinged and you're at 3. So I always shoot higher than 5. Shoot for 6, shoot for 7, shoot for 12, so that if you have a return, then you will still hit Success Club. So that's one thing that I want you to change. So forget 5 and 10, it's 7 and 12. But if you're short right now, think about the conversations that you've had. Okay, so let's just say it. So for me, Power of 3, I haven't gone through and followed up and reached out and gone through my friends list. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go through those friends lists, and I'm going to just scroll, and I'm going to go through all my old Evernote docs that have old customers of mine, and I'm going to, who have I not talked to, and I'm going to send those messages out. Well, if I still keep getting the same answers, the same kind of answers, I'm going to go to the National Wake Up Call. I'm going to try and pull something out that sticks, that may be the missing piece in these conversations to make it could be that your customers are ready, but they're not convinced. So, and of course, we're not in the convincing business, so you know what I mean. They're not convinced in the fact that you have not created that value. I know that the call recently was talking about, I think it was Brandy, talking about, and see, I listen to every single call. So I just told you how busy I am with all of this these team, but the National Wake Up Call is non-negotiable. Do not skip it. I don't necessarily listen to it on Monday morning. I listen to it that week, but I don't skip it. Anyways, Brandy was talking about creating value of what they're going to get in the challenge group. Now, I created, if you are a 2013, 2014 personally sponsored coach of mine, I reached out to you in the last week and a half and said, I've got a group, a challenge group starting November 3rd. You're welcome to invite to. I'm leaving that up to you. Whoever makes it on this call, that group is open to you as well. If you have one person that needs a group, then put that person in my group. If that's the one thing that's going to kick you into hitting Success Club 5, because now you have a place to put somebody, then you have a place to put them. You don't have to worry about not having a place next week if you have one person that's committed and all your other people have already started. Use that as a tool as well. Okay, well, maybe you were backing off because you didn't have a place to put them. Well, use my place. And you know what? If that's the case ever, where you're like, I already started my group, I'm at 3, but it's the last week of the month, I don't want to really push it because I don't have a place to put anybody. Don't ever let that stop you. You have the team. Somebody's got a group starting on that Monday, or you reach out to me or anybody and ask. Because I'm not going to turn somebody down. If you say, okay, I've got somebody that's committed that just bought a challenge pack this week and that's going to get me to 5 or whatever, I don't have a place to put them. Do you have something starting on Monday? Yes. Then put them in my group. That's I'm not going to turn you down. So that may be one of the barriers that's stopping you from actually, killing it this week, just finishing the week. So you have until Friday to do this. You can sell 3 things, like my fingernail. Oh my God, my fingernail's missing. 3 things until Friday to hit Success Club. So National Wake Up Call, what's missing in your conversations? You have a place to invite them to, and I just lost my train of thought. Oh, Power of 3. If you're not doing the Power of 3, then that's a given. Then you're not, you need to reach out to 3 people a day or 10 people because you haven't done it all month, 10 people between now and Friday, and even if they commit on Friday, make an exception, put them in the group for Monday. They start a week late. Let's say it's a 21-day fix. They still end up finishing at the end of the group. Okay, so don't let the Friday be they won't be starting in time. Don't let that hold you back. So Power of 3, obviously that's a given. If you're not doing it, do it. If you are doing it but don't seem to be closing the deal, look at the National Wake Up Call, or same thing, go on to YouTube, personal development. What are you missing? Is it the fact that you don't feel like you're being a salesperson? Is it the fact that you feel that you're just getting no's all the time? Is it that go on to YouTube and look for a piece of John Maxwell, something that's going to kick your thoughts into changing, tweaking things. And then I'm going to say one more thing, because I've said this before, but I don't say it very often, and I should. Asking questions is like your bread and butter of this business. Asking questions. So I used to make asking questions a game. And I know that some coaches that have been with me for a long time know this, because I remember saying this all the time. I used to make it a game. How many questions? Because sometimes we think, well, what questions am I going to ask? But I turn that around. Not what questions am I going to ask? It's how many questions can I ask this person? I'm going to make it a game. See how many questions I can ask this person, not in one message, but back and forth. So that I had to think outside the box based on the conversation I was having. let's see, what question can I ask? You know, I was always ending it with a question. And I just try to keep it going. So that being said, I'm going to give you an example. And I think the question thing came back into my life because this nutrition school that we're going to, and some of us on this team, talking about asking high mileage questions when you're you know, a health coach, you're asking questions, and your goal is to have your client really kind of guide themselves. And that's what we do as coaches, as Beachbody coaches, have your client guide themselves into answering their own questions. So asking the questions, sitting back and listening. So it brought me back to like, wait a minute, I used to do that all the time. Ask lots of questions. So here's my example. I have a customer who just recently went through a challenge group of mine, and she bought a challenge pack. Her challenge pack showed up kind of late. First of all, and you'll probably, some of you who have followed me in some of these conversations in the team page, she was very anxious about like not doing it because I didn't reply right away. And then she said, oh, no, okay, I'll do it. So I saved the success of the points. So she joins the challenge group. She's not that active in the group. Her challenge pack shows up kind of late. And here I'm thinking, I know this is going to be a return. I just know it. I'm really trying, reaching out to her, personal messages. How are you doing? Is there something I get? And my group is ending today. And I get an email from her. And she says, are the Beachbody message boards still active? Because what I think I need is a little bit more activity to keep me accountable. And I'm thinking, oh, jeez. Okay, first of all, I know that that's not the problem. But how am I going to deal with this question? So I love getting questions. I love getting these because then it brings me back to like, how can I think outside the box? And how can I, rather than just quickly answer that question, just like when you post on Facebook, take that extra 5-10 minutes to go, how am I going to answer this? You like, wait, okay, hit unread. I'm going to sit on this. I'm going to think about this. I want to say the right thing. There is no right or wrong, but I want to say the right thing. So I sat on it all day and I thought about it. Okay, Beachbody message boards, that's really not her problem, but I'm not going to go out and say that's not your problem because she needs to decide that. So, but I know the Beachbody message boards used to be great, but now, quite honestly, it's a new coach poaching pool because new coaches that don't have training like this have no idea what they're doing, and all they do is poach people from the message boards. So, of course, I don't want her to go to the message boards because why would she? When she could be in a private challenge group like she just was. Okay, how am I going to answer? So what I did was I thought about it and I wrote her back and I said, she had said something about her thyroid. She found out her thyroid is worse and now she's on more medication. So of course I addressed that first because this is how I approach messages. If there's a health problem first or someone's having a problem, I address that first in the conversation because they're obviously having a problem with that, and I'm sorry that they're having a problem with that. So I address that first. I'm sorry that you're having a problem with that. Have you thought about taking some foods out of your diet? Because I'm learning a lot in this nutrition school about elimination. And have you thought about that? So here I am asking questions, right? Have you thought about removing foods from your diet? I've seen that inflammation changes when you do that. But I didn't tell her what to do. So that was the beginning of the conversation. And then about the Beachbody message boards, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. The Beachbody message boards used to be great, but I stopped going on there because they were a place where new coaches were poaching customers. And so I just didn't find the value in it. And that's all I know about the Beachbody message boards right now. So I was being perfectly honest with her. I was also being upfront with her that if she did go into the Beachbody message boards and start utilizing it, that she would expect coaches to come reach out to her. You know, I have a relationship with her. Whatever is going to happen is going to happen, but I'm already warning her. And then I could have just ended it at that, right? Address the thyroid issue, address the question about the message boards. But I said, you know what? Here we go. This is the time to put the questions back on her. So I want to tell you exactly what I wrote as far as the questions go, because I think it's important. So I am gonna, okay, here it is. Oh, and I also said, because I am thinking about this, because Facebook is really, you know, we have to have a backup. Don Nolting had a problem with his challenge group and wasn't able to post in there. And so we're talking about message boards again. And I had thought about message boards again. So I'm looking into possibly doing, you know, maybe a team message board system just as a backup. So I mentioned that as well. I'm working on possibly creating a message board for the entire team. Hint, hint. But then I said, what struggles are you still having? Motivation? What is it that you are looking for with respect to the activity that you referred to? So rather than just answer her and say, here's the message board, answer, I dug deeper into what her problem really was. She was saying that she needed the message boards because she needed more activity. And I could have just taken that at face value. Wait a minute. Let's slow down. Like, why do you say that? And now I'm giving her the opportunity to kind of dig deeper, which gives me an opportunity to kind of guide her a little bit further down the line and say, okay, well, really, what is the problem? Why are you not able to commit to it? Right? So my point is, in that, ask lots of questions. And yeah, that's a simple question, right? What are you looking for in respect to the activity you referred to? So I think go back to your conversations that you've had, that you thought that they were ready to commit and they just haven't committed yet, and really look at what they're saying. And go back to them and follow up. And don't just say, I'm just following up. Find something in that conversation and specifically ask them a question regarding that, as if you were their best friend, really inquiring about why they're having a problem. Because sometimes we get so wrapped up in this business and everything else that's going on that we completely, it's just superficial. And I'm totally guilty of this. And this is where customer service comes in. This is exactly why I have 2 Zappos books over there that I still haven't touched yet, because I know that I do that. And I need to slow down, because that conversation is going to be 1,000 times better when I really don't think of it as a number, or like I've got to reply to 15 other people. Let me just really think of, as if I've only talked to one person last month. Let me really think about this conversation. This person is having a problem. Put it back on them. Like, okay, so tell me more about this problem. That's all you have to say. If they don't reply, they don't reply. But you genuinely are throwing out the damn challenge pack, the Shakeology. Let's dig deeper. So what if it doesn't happen by Friday? Maybe it happens in 2 months. But the point is that you've really thought about what this person's problem is, rather than on the surface they just said no and you're moving on. Go back to those conversations, go back to your power of 3 on those people that you thought would commit, and you're like, hello, where are you? Go back to those conversations and really look at those conversations and dig deeper. But don't dig and give them a solution. Ask questions. Because I think we overlook that more than we should. Asking questions and asking creative questions. Not just like the script of questions, but like, you guys are humans. You ask questions all the time. You're in a conversation with somebody, you ask a question. Think of it as a conversation. What would you ask them so that you could get an answer so you can continue your conversation? And it could not be about the program. It could be something else. Maybe something else is bothering them. Maybe there's something else going on at home. And you just may be that friend that they need right there. And that just builds way more trust because you took it a step further. Okay, so what I'm doing, thinking outside the box in the next week, is I'm going back through my list. I'm going to have those conversations. I'm going to ask more questions, right? I've got a group that starts on Monday. Their last day to apply for that group is the Thursday, I'm saying. Get in. You don't want to miss it. So creating that urgency. Okay. This group I am calling a 21-day prep group for Insanity Max 30. And you know what? It doesn't seem to be as exciting as the 21-day prep group for PIO was. I mean, I had people like knocking on the door for that. This one's a bit more challenging, and I don't know why. So I have to be creative. I have to figure out, because there's no way in hell that I'm not getting 10. So I have to think outside the box. Yeah, I'm back on Instagram. I really am back on my blog. I'm really trying to create value. Even if that doesn't happen on Thursday, what I'm doing by thinking outside the box is I am growing and growing and growing so that next month I can use what I've done now. So I'm always learning. I'm doing the same things every day, but they're not exactly the same thing. It's not scripted. I don't say the same thing all the time. I don't have a canned response, because that's not what I do. And honestly, for me, when I do have canned responses, those are the ones that I get the least response for. I also, one more thing is, go to your customer database, send an email. Who cares if they click unsubscribe? I have an email set up in Automatic CEO that I wrote yesterday, and all it was 4 tips. I took it off my blog, 4 tips for whatever. Here's a recipe. P.S. I've got a group starting on Monday. Reply back if you need my help. I have it scheduled to go out Monday, because typically people don't read their email on the weekend. Mondays and Tuesdays tend to be when people open their emails. So go back to your customer list, set up an email to go out Monday morning, give a few tips. Again, if you're using Automatic CEO and they unsubscribe, or you're using your Beachbody office and it's okay. It happens. I had 2 complaints on my Aweber list last month, and I was mad because it was like one person that complained. Like, if you don't complain, just hit unsubscribe. It happens, All I'm doing is trying to provide value. I'm not showing this like challenge pack and sale, I'm doing the best that I can. So I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly trying to change things up. I'm not trying to skyrocket and be top 10. I'm just trying to do my business. And that's what I want to kind of give you guys, is that I'm always learning. And so it's okay to always be learning and applying and learning and applying and changing things up. It's fine. Okay. That was my soapbox. I'm going to, let's see. Can you raise your hand in this or no? You can. Oh, not raise your hand. I saw that. Can you, let's see. All right, I'm going to unmute for a second. Okay, good. You guys are all quiet for the most part. Okay. Does anybody have any questions or, oh, you can raise your hand. Who raised their hand? Somebody. No. Okay. Anybody have any questions? Speak up. No. Okay. Seriously? There's 13 people. Any comments? Anybody that was at 4 and is now at 5? Just someone say something.
4.
Okay.
I have a question.
Okay. And it's so nice to see you on here.
It's nice to be here. So when you talk about not having a canned response, I feel like it's impossible to not have a canned response. And like the other day, I felt like my whole job sometimes feels like I'm just copying and pasting all day. And the more and more customers that you have and the more and more people that you're dealing with, like, I don't know how to avoid that and keep it feeling authentic without wanting to shoot myself in the head. So can you talk about that?
I can absolutely answer that. So I say no canned response, but I'm going to say when you're sharing like the same thing, Okay, wait, hold on a second. I'm gonna mute you all, and I'm gonna leave Ashley. Hold on one second. I'm gonna unmute you. Okay. Okay. So when you're saying the same things, yes, absolutely, copy and paste. But what I do is I lead that with something personal. So I should have clarified that it's not necessarily, I mean, I don't know. I don't really copy and paste that much anymore because it's just this conversation and it's like, okay, what do I get? Well, and I list those things, but I don't write a book. Maybe that's why. You know, so it doesn't take me that long to reply because I make it a point to only reply in a few sentences. Does that make sense? So that I can keep that conversation going?
Yeah, that makes sense. So
Rather
it's
than
just a smaller, like, back and forth
Mm-hmm.
than, like, a bunch of information all at once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Here.
Yeah, that's probably why I say that, because I used to copy and paste, and I'm like, I don't really copy and paste anymore. But that's because it's just this back and forth conversation, and they're smaller. So the things like, okay, well, what do I get in the challenge group? Those bullet points, yes, that's all the same, but it's very little. It's not like this whole long book, or Does that help?
Yeah, I think it's just like with the free challenges and ads and stuff, like I'll get, 30 or 40 comments on a post. Yeah. And like trying to have like individual conversations with those people is.
No. I see exactly what you're saying. And here's how you and I are different. I don't get that many responses. Amber Scott, Carly Del Carlo, they get those many responses, and they absolutely use canned responses. Okay. So I'm not saying that it doesn't work. I'm saying that for me and my conversations, it doesn't work. But for them and their top 10, it works because they have the volume that they have no choice. So if it works, use it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Okay. Anybody else? Wait, you're all muted. Hold on. Let me unmute you all. Okay. Anybody else?
My whole deal is well, this has been a great month, I think, because I've been really pressing hard, and I've gotten a lot of feedback from my posts and a lot of like excitement. Oh yeah, we're interested, and I've given out sample packs of Shakeology, and this Friday I got tons of responses back, and I've given them the Shakeology. I'm waiting to hear the answer. Let's go, and they're like, okay, we'll let you know, and pretty much that's where it sits. Now, how do I want to? Can I just ask for the sale? Say, hey, this is, I need an answer, or how do I do it without sounding like a used car salesman? And part of me doesn't.
I'm not going to answer that. I want somebody else on this call to answer that, because you all are unmuted. Because I think that you can all answer this, and not all of you, but there are some of you that can absolutely answer this because you've been around and you're consistently successful in asking for the sale. So either Ashley, Lara, I see you guys are on here.
I mean, for me, like, I always just set a date and then use that as my like catalyst for following up with them and getting an answer. And it's not complicated, or like it feels really natural. And usually, like, as I'm going through the process, I'm telling them in advance, like, this is the date that it's starting and this is the date you need to commit by. So then it's really easy and natural to follow up because they need to place their order by that date in order to make the challenge.
Okay. There you go.
I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lara, what would you say?
That's pretty much the same for me too. Like, I give them an order deadline, and then when that date comes, I'll say something like, just want to check and make sure if you still want to get in on the group. Today's the deadline to commit by. If not, let me know either way is usually what I'll say too, so that they actually respond and don't just ignore me. Yeah, that's usually what I do though.
Okay. Anybody else have a 2 cents? Yeah, I'm glad you guys answered that, because that's it. I could have jumped in and said that, but I'm not the only one that speaks. Yeah, it's you give them a deadline, because if you have this open-ended, I've got a challenge group you want to be a part of, it doesn't put that little fire into their tushes. For me, it's like, I've got this group that starts on Monday. I'm following back up with you because I want to make sure that you're in there and you don't miss out. So the last day to order is the 30th so that you can be a part of that group. So let me know either way, like you said there. Let me know either way, and I'd love to have you in this group.
Okay.
So it's not, you're not being salesy. You really, really genuinely want them in the group, but you got to get in your order now. Otherwise, I got to keep going.
Okay.
Does that make
All
sense?
right. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? No. Anybody running into a specific trouble?
Yeah, I've got one thing.
Okay, go for it.
I actually briefly had a customer that was coached by another coach. I had met her on Instagram, did a 7-step invitation, got her motivated, ordered a challenge pack, and last Wednesday she switched coaches, and I lost the SE points and the commission. And it's, I talked to my coach, talked to my success partners, and they've just like, move on. And it's just, it's been hard on me because it's just like, when you put the effort in and you do it the right way, and then I just kind of feel like, I just had a customer just stolen from me. How do you move on from something like that?
Okay, good question. I'm gonna let, if somebody else wants to jump in, because I will definitely give you my words of advice. But I would love to hear somebody else if you.
Yeah, Chris and I already spoke about this, and I know and I get it. It's frustrating, but as I told him, you do what you do best, and that's planting seeds. And if they come back, it's meant to be. If they don't, they don't. I mean, if there's no rhyme or reason why it happened, it's not meant to be. Just instead of getting frustrated, it'll make you a stronger coach, and you just keep on moving and changing other people's lives. And if she comes back, she does it. She doesn't. She doesn't. I mean, it's about getting that negative part of it and making it positive, because it's going to eat you up alive. Then you're going to lose your focus on what the purpose really is here. And I was right there, Chris. I know what you feel like. I feel like my last challenge was a complete flop. Not even a single bird was chirping. But I treated it like it was full of 100 people in there. But, I mean, sometimes you're successful, sometimes you're not. You know what? Life happens, move on, and that's it. I mean, there's not much anybody can do about it, so.
Okay.
You're still a rock star.
Good advice. Good advice. Good advice. Good advice. Anybody else?
Did she come to you and tell you she was changing coaches, or like how did you find out?
She disappeared from my back office, so then I called Coach Relations to find out. They told me that last Wednesday night, that she had switched coaches, and that she actually emailed me 2 days ago saying, well, I just found a friend of a friend who's running the challenge group, and I'm at in there. And she was like, I'm sorry. I haven't responded to it because I honestly don't know what to say without being a little bit upset in the email. So I honestly I just left it alone.
Yeah, I mean, I've had that happen too. Like, there was a guy that I was working with for probably 6 months to close a challenge pack, and like 2 days before he bought, he found out that his like best friend's wife was a coach, which I was like, how did you not know that? But anyway, and he ended up going with her, even though, and he was like, I feel really bad. Like, you worked with me this whole time, but they're my friends, and I feel like I need to give them the business. And like at the end of the day, I was like, well, if you're on Shakeology and you get healthier and you get fitter, like that's what's most important. And like, it sucked for me, but it happens. And like, whenever that happens, I try to just step back and look at like the bigger picture of if they're getting healthier and fit, like whether it's through me or whether it's through some other coach, and if they're using Shakeology and it's going to help change their lives, like that's the most important thing. And there's going to be switches the other way too. Like, there are going to be people out there who are with a coach that doesn't work for them, and they're going to end up switching to you because they connect with you better and they resonate with you and the way that you care for them and reach out to them and the way that you speak to them. So just know that it all, like what goes around comes around, and that it will come back to you, and that there are people who are looking for a coach exactly like you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. I agree completely with both of you guys. Anybody else? No? Okay, I'm going to give you mine. obviously I totally agree with both of them. But like you said, Chris, it's hard to walk away. It's hard to not let it affect you, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to go back and you're going to go back to your conversations with them, and this is what I do. Because trust me, I've been around long enough. This has happened many times, right? And obviously I've kept moving, but it does sting. So what I've done is I've gone back and reflected on the conversations. Did I dig deeper? Did I really connect with this person? Did I really make it 100% about them? Was I genuine? And I'm not judging anything in your conversation. I'm just telling you what I've done. And personally, the ones that have left, I have always found a flaw in my relationship with them. And it's either I lost track of them. I didn't really dig deep, just like what I was saying earlier. It was just, I was scripted. I was just going through the motions because I knew that they wanted it, and I was just 5-stepping, but I wasn't really caring. So if you did all that, then you have to look back at yourself and say, I did nothing wrong. So I have to be okay with that, because like Ashley said, you know what? It just sometimes the neighbor shows up and says, hey, I'm a coach. I'm local because I live next door to you. And if you're local, you're a better coach. I mean, that happens, right? And but I've had 6 months of conversation with you. It happens. But again, like Ashley said, people come back and want you for you, and they were just not meant to be with you. Now, that also being said, it's hard when we're emotional people that it affects us and it distracts us, and maybe we stop talking to people because we feel like, well, it didn't work then, so it's not going to work now. And you start to look at these other things. And I've told this story many times about the horse, and it goes along with, you're going for elite, or you're going for a rank, or but it applies in this case too, is that the story that Alethea told me years ago, a horse looks straight ahead. When the horse looks down, she's heard this story. The horse looks straight ahead. When the horse looks down, or the horse looks side to side, what happens? The horse stops or slows down. You just have to keep going. You reflect on that conversation. You see, what can I have changed in this conversation? Could it be one little tiny thing, or could it not? And then wash your hands of it, keep moving, because you know that if you stop and you look side to side and you think, well, why did that person, I don't understand, that person poached that that stupid coach poached the customer, was icky, blah, blah, blah. What have I just done? I've distracted myself from my goals. And that person has just killed, 4 days or a week of my productivity because I've distracted myself by that. But I will say, reflect back on the conversation and be okay either way. Maybe you did. In my case, I screwed up. I have to be okay with that. Now, how am I going to fix that? Next time, I won't screw up. Next time I will be, more involved in the conversation or whatever. Or if you went step by step and you really genuinely cared, then it was completely out of your control. And that's my 2 cents. So I hope that helps. Does that help?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anybody else? Wait, hold on. Anybody else? Get it all out. We're here.
I actually, it's kind of the other end for me. I had last 2 weeks I've been talking with somebody about 21 Day Fix. Is a girl I went to high school with, and she finally came back. Yeah, I want to buy it. My friend is a Beachbody coach, and they had been talking to me before, but they haven't contacted me lately. And I kind of backed off, like, oh crap, I don't want to screw with this then. I mean, I haven't really followed much up with her since then. I didn't know if I continue to, well, their loss or, well.
Well, yeah. I think in that case, I think that asking questions is appropriate.
Yeah.
You know, reach out. You obviously want this person to have some help. Now, that person could completely fall in a black hole because their friend isn't doing it and you don't ask. Yeah. And so they're going to go on Amazon or they're going to buy something and then they're not going to have the support. Simply asking, okay, I really want to help you, but I don't want to step on anybody's toes. So are you working with them? And if you're not, I would be happy to work with you.
Okay.
Because that way they're not left in the middle and there's no like, well, maybe. It's just like asking for the sale, you know, find out. Like, either way, I'm cool.
Yeah, okay.
But I want to make sure you get the help. You just let me know if you're working with them. And if you're not, then I would be happy to work with you.
Okay.
And you're not stepping on anybody's toes. You're making sure that they're okay, you know, that they can go back to that person. But you're also giving yourself, you know, making yourself available.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else? I have a couple more minutes. We have a good group on here today, and I want to make sure that we start this week off great. Let's see. Anybody have any challenge groups that are starting tomorrow? Okay. Anybody doing anything that's working really, really well this week? We keep talking about like what's not working, but anybody doing something that's been working really well this week? Okay. You guys. Go ahead, somebody. Okay. All right.
I was going to say I got the most responses I've ever gotten from any kind of ad I've ever done just showing my meal prep. There was no before and after pics. There was no 21-day fix or anything. It was just showing the foods I prepped for the week. And I got so many questions and so many responses from that picture.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of interesting.
Now you know what your audience needs.
Yeah.
So don't forget that.
Yeah.
Because that's what they need. I mean, don't say, you know, put it in their face 24/7.
Yeah.
But when you need it, when you need to have those conversations like this week, you know, focus on what they need because you will start having those conversations. I know exactly, for me, it's when I post my schedule for working out. Like, hey, here's what. That's when I get the most responses. And it's like something that you wouldn't even think about. Wait a minute, I just posted it because I was looking at it.
Yeah.
You know, so, but remember that that's what your audience really wants. And start thinking about that when you're thinking outside the box. Okay, well, if they want that, then, you know, and even ask questions on Facebook or ask them questions. And then that kind of guides you along with what you can start putting out there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right.
I'm doing a free challenge starting November 1st. This is Michelle. I just made my little pick monkey picture for it. I was going to announce it tomorrow since like not that many people are on Facebook on Sunday night.
Okay.
But it's called, I'm calling it Planksgiving.
That's awesome.
And so, and I can't take credit for the idea. I found it on Pinterest. But basically, in like my little, very small accountability group that I have, I just posted for them tonight and said, hey, you guys are getting first dibs on joining this challenge because you've done some stuff with me before. And they seem kind of excited. I already had a couple people say they wanted to do it, but it's basically November 1st through 30th, and I just have it billed as, you know, Planksgiving, 30 days of thanks and planks, and each day they'll have their little plank challenge, and then I'm planning on having like a little, like also sharing quotes about, you know, gratitude and being thankful and stuff like that, and then I'll have some like little gratitude type contests here and there throughout, so.
I love it. Love it. That's thinking outside the box. And it's not, it's thinking inside the box, but it's also thinking outside. But you're not recreating the wheel, but you're putting a new spin on it where, you know, it's timely, obviously. So thank you for sharing that. That's awesome.
Sure.
I'm looking at my calendar. Like November 1st. Okay, that is Saturday. Okay. One more thing before we close up too. Those of you that are in the Emerald to Diamond group, Heather was going to post this tonight, I think. I saw her tonight. In fact, my kids are over at her house right now, so I can do this call. She is going to be doing a business op webinar on Wednesday. So everybody, and it'll be announced in the team page as well, but business op, and I think she said it's going to be around 5 o'clock on Wednesday Pacific time. So keep that in mind to invite your prospects. I also have that Coach at a Glance group that I've kind of revived based on some feedback I got from some friends that are reviving theirs, and it's working really well. My event worked well one time. When I ran it again, it was pretty much a flop. So that's, see, again, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go back to that. But I do think for me, and it may be as for you as well, the live opportunity webinars for me do much better because there is this like deadline. Okay, well, it's going to be Wednesday night, so hopefully you can make it. And a lot of people can't make it, but you've created that urgency. And then also it creates an opportunity to follow up the next day, because you know that they weren't going to make it. You go, okay, well, I'm just following up with you. I know you couldn't make it, but here's the link for the recording. So that live webinar works really well in my case. So if you're having kind of a slowdown in what you are currently doing as far as reaching out to coaches, then it may be, you know, an opportunity to change things up. But just know that Wednesday night there will be a business opportunity webinar, and then the goal is to continue this every other Wednesday, but I also want to make sure that those of you that are also having them yourself, please share that in the group so that people can, and I know you do, but so that people can invite their prospects too. And again, the more that you do them, the easier it gets. Beachbody created this amazing PowerPoint presentation that is in the Emerald to Diamond training documents. If you want to branch out and do it and do something scary, I know Jackie did it, and which was awesome. And it's super easy to modify the PowerPoint. I put in all our team players, and honestly, I just went through the PowerPoint. I didn't even look at the script. I went through the PowerPoint and I just talked about what I was saying. But it's gone over very well. So, and it's really easy to do. And you know, it's one of those things, you step out of your comfort zone. It took me a long time to do it, I'll admit. So you guys all that want to, that you know, want to wait. That's why I commend Jackie so much, because it took me a long time to do it. And I wish that I would have done it earlier. But now that Beachbody's given us this PowerPoint, it's like, you have no excuse. So do it. Get it out of your system. You cannot fail. Beachbody's given you the PowerPoint. You just talk about it, and people think that you did amazing. So there you go. And then you have coaches sign up, and they come in waves. So that's another great reason to have it this week, because the deadline, we're having it the 29th. So make sure that you follow up with your coach prospects, because that could also seal the deal on your Success Club points as well by the 31st. All right. Okay, we need a screenshot. I'm going to do the gallery view here. For those of you that are on the phone, you are represented by little phone icons here. Okay, let's see. Let me hide this. Let's see if hold on one second. I see you're all ready to go. My Snagit's not working. Hold on. No. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, smile. Got it. Okay, I'm going to say goodnight. Have a good week. And Share if you hit Success Club, and like celebrate and be all excited. Okay? Bye, guys.